What if a city, 40,000 strong, vanished, leaving unsolved mysteries etched in stone? Picture this: streets alive, under torchlight, water gurgling beneath, kids chasing shadows, a marvel of true history, cleaner, stranger than Rome's wildest dreams, 4,500 years ago. Then gone, swallowed by dust, by shadow, by secrets, too deep to name, too vast to hold. Welcome back to Harappa, the Indus Valley's lost empire, a history so advanced, so eerie, it defies us still, glowing in the flicker of flame, whispering through clay. You begged for more, after we cracked its end, its silent tongue. Last time and tonight, we chase its height, its unsolved peak when it thrived, when it hid something under a crimson sky, streaked with dread, dust choking the air, whispers on the wind, echoes in the dark. This is Mysteriophiles, where the lost come back whispering, watching, waiting, daring us to look closer, to feel the weight. Let's start with the plumbing. Yes, plumbing, not swords, not gold, not gods, but pipes, baked clay, smooth as glass, glowing faintly, in kiln light, running under every street, every house, every shadowed corner in Mohenjo-Daro, Harappa, Dolavira cities, carved from stone, cloaked in secrets, lit by dusk. Imagine waking up, sun barely up, a crimson haze on the horizon, washing your face, brushing dust from your hands, kids splashing nearby, women hauling jars, and the water doesn't sit, doesn't stink, doesn't flood. It flows out, away through covered drains, into pits beyond the walls, far from the living, glinting under torchlight, a marvel too perfect, too strange, too quiet. This wasn't chance. Every pipe, every channel measured, fitted perfect, like a heartbeat, pulsing under the city, 4,500 years ago, when the rest of the world, Egypt, Mesopotamia, splashed in rivers or drowned in muck under a merciless sun, blind to such craft. Archaeologists dug these up, pipes still there, still working, after millennia, buried under sand, silt time, glowing faint in the dig's lantern light, whispering of genius. Houses had wells, deep, cool, rim-lit by dawn, bathrooms inside, drains built into the floors. Some even had toilet seats of brick, smooth, flushed by hand. Water poured from jars, whisking waste away into the system, hidden, silent, shadowed, too clean, too eerie, too planned.
Now, the Great Bath, Mohenjo-Daro's crown, its soul, a pool, a riddle, 12 meters long, 7 wide, 2 deep, brick walls, watertight, sealed with tar, black and sticky, steps leading down into water so still, so clear. It mirrors a blood-red sunset, rippling in shadow, silent as a tomb. Picture this: you stand there, barefoot on hot stone, air thick, dry, dust in your throat, priests murmuring low, robes brushing the edge, women dipping jars, kids peering over the rim, their reflections trembling. The water's surface unbroken, yet heavy, too heavy. Was it for washing, ritual, power, something deeper? The bricks gleam, perfect, untouched, backlit by dying light, shadows stretching long, like fingers clawing the sky, reaching for something lost, something feared, something buried beneath the stillness, waiting in the depths. Whispering through the dusk, priests waded in, robes dragging heavy, chanting low, their voices bouncing off the bricks, swallowed by the water, rim-lit by torches, flickering in the haze, calling to gods we can't name, begging for mercy or sealing a pact, under a sky heavy with secrets, thick with dread. Some say it was sacred, a cult of water, purity, life, a place to cleanse the soul or bind it, bathed in moody shadow. Others whisper it was a shield, a plea against something they feared, something tied to why they vanished, something they drowned out, or tried to, under a sky streaked with flame. A ritual lost to time. Divers found it empty. No bones, no tools, no offerings, just water, waiting, still, too still, rippling in the dark, holding its breath, hiding its truth, echoing through the silence, daring us to listen. And yet the bath keeps more than mere water, more than ancient stone laid upon stone, even more than the profound silence of centuries past and the relentless march of time itself. Locals whisper low in hushed tones, barely daring to breathe the words of nights too still, an unnerving stillness that settles like a shroud when the air grows thick, heavy with an unseen presence, pressing down when the wind dies, leaving the leaves trembling and expectant. And the bath hums, soft, a gentle vibration against the very air, low, a deep resonance that seems to emanate from the earth's core, alive, a subtle thrumming that hints at hidden energy, rippling dark, the surface disturbed by unseen currents, like a whispered secret, calling shadow, beckoning the darkness to coalesce and deepen, stirring dread, a primal fear that prickles the skin and chills the bone, echoing deep, a sound that reverberates within the soul, too deep. A priest stood there once, his face etched with worry, his eyes wide with a desperate plea, robes soaked heavy, clinging to him like a second skin, burdened by the dampness and the weight of his purpose, chanting high, his voice a fervent cry against the encroaching gloom, to a sky too red, a bruised and angry canvas overhead, foretelling doom. Till the water turned black, not with tar, the viscous residue of earthly fires, but with shadow, a living, breathing entity that consumed the light, swallowing his voice, muffling his desperate incantations, silencing his pleas, swallowing his soul, drawing his very essence into its fathomless depths. Leaving ripples, the only evidence of his final struggle, spreading outwards like a dark stain, leaving dread, a palpable sense of loss and terror that lingered in the air, leaving echoes, faint whispers that seemed to carry his final, unheard words, leaving nothing, no trace of his physical form, as if he had never been. No one saw him go, vanished without a sound, without a struggle witnessed. No one dared look, their eyes fixed on the ground, afraid of what they might behold. No one dared listen, their ears straining for any sign, yet terrified of what the silence might reveal. But the hum stayed, faint, a mere suggestion of sound, a ghostly vibration, too faint, almost imperceptible, yet undeniably present, pulsing under torchlight, a subtle throb against the flickering flames, a hidden rhythm whispering through dusk, carried on the cool evening air, a secret language. Hiding its pact, concealing the ancient bargain it struck with powers unknown, holding its truth, guarding the secrets buried beneath its surface, refusing to yield, waiting in depths, patiently biding its time in the darkness below. Waiting for us, for the curious, the unwary, the foolish, to wade too close, to step beyond the invisible boundary, to invite its embrace. To vanish too, and then there was the trade, a lifeline for Harappa, a network of exchange that stretched far beyond the Indus Valley. It wasn't just about pipes for water or stone for building. It went deeper, beyond the practicalities of survival, almost beyond reason itself, venturing into realms we can only glimpse now, into the shadow of the unknown, perhaps even into the very heart of dread, ultimately leading to a profound silence, a silence that still holds so many truths about their vanished world. The markets at Harappa thrived, especially as dusk painted the sky in hues of deep crimson, a dramatic backdrop to the daily transactions. Torchlight flickered low, casting dancing shadows on the bustling stalls, over the hands that bartered goods, both familiar and exotic, hands that sometimes trembled, perhaps not just from the weight of their wares, hands that seemed to hold a deeper knowledge, an unspoken understanding of the forces at play. Consider the beads of carnelian, a stone the color of dried blood, painstakingly mined from the distant hills of Gujarat, polished smooth by skilled artisans into gleaming gems. These beads were traded far and wide, reaching the distant shores of Mesopotamia, where they glowed with a subtle light, not from the flickering flames of the market torches, but seemingly from within the stone itself, strung together into intricate necklaces and bracelets, whispered over by merchants haggling for the best price, perhaps even cursed under breath by those who felt cheated, pulsing with a soft energy, almost too soft to notice, yet undeniably alive, holding a silent story within their fiery depths. For generations, the Harappan world thrived on the currents of trade. Gold, shimmering like captured sunlight, journeyed to Sumer, a testament to their skill and abundance. Beads, crafted with intricate care, whispered tales of artistry across vast distances, each a tiny jewel in the necklace of their wealth. Wealth flowed, a lifeblood sustaining their cities, their dreams, their very existence. Then a subtle shift, an imperceptible tremor beneath the surface of their golden age. A darkness stirred in the ancient depths, a hunger long dormant began to awaken. The mouths, vast and unknowable, began to yawn in the silent earth. Psychotic grins, etched into the very fabric of reality, twitched with anticipation, and fangs, sharper than any earthly blade, began to stir in the primordial gloom. Drooling malice, a venom born of ages, began to seep into the consciousness of the world. A slavering fury, ancient and insatiable, stirred in its subterranean lair, gulping down the very essence of peace, gnashing with the growing ferocity that promised unimaginable destruction. And then they erupted alive, not as invaders from a distant land, but as a horror born from the very soil beneath their feet, roaring with a sound that shattered the sky and echoed the death knell of their civilization. They carved through flesh, not with weapons of bronze, but with the raw, primal hunger of a nightmare made real. Stole not just possessions, but the very dreams from their minds. Drained the essence of life, leaving behind hollow shells. Snuffed out the spirit, that spark of humanity that dared to hope. Resolve shattered like glass against stone, hearts split open by unimaginable fear, wills wrecked and broken beyond repair, leaving only a hollowed core, an emptiness where life once thrived. Huge jaws, monstrous maws, grinning with a chaotic glee at the unfolding devastation. They chewed through lives as if they were mere morsels, each bite accompanied by the silent screams of the devoured, tore through the very air with their guttural roars, a sound that promised only oblivion. And they snapped us, snapped them, snapped worlds in their terrible hunger, snapped the silence that once held peace, snapped the hope that had once burned bright, snapped the very breath from our lungs, leaving only gasping terror. They roared low, a sound that resonated with the ancient heart of the earth and echoed high into the uncaring heavens, shook free from the bonds of the underworld, quivering through the very goods that once symbolized their prosperity, trembling through the very ground I stand on, thundering through all that was, is, and ever will be, shivered through the long ages, a cold dread that time could not erase, quaked through the finality of death itself, darkened through a hell more profound than any nightmare could conjure, leaving behind only ash where cities once stood, only ghosts whispering forgotten names on the wind, only husks, empty vessels of a life extinguished, only screams echoing in the void, only shadows stretching into an endless night, leaving only me, a witness to the end. My nightmare bled into the waking world, a terror that clung to my soul like a second skin. My screams joined the endless chorus of the lost. Harappa broke not with a whisper, but with a deafening roar of destruction. The grins remain, etched into the void, a constant reminder of the horror that lies beneath. The jaws still chew, an eternal feast on what once was, a final scare that chills the very marrow, a final doom that knows no end, a final hell that has consumed us all.